Spend less time in the laundry room and more time doing the things you love. Introducing the Samsung Smart Top Load Laundry Pair, now available at Lowe's. The washer's large capacity means you can fit more in every load. Plus, its super speed setting washes a full load in only 28 minutes. Shop the smart washer that will streamline laundry day, backed by Lowe's Price Promise. Based on using super speed on a normal cycle with an 8-pound load. Terms apply. See Lowe's.com/price promise for details. U.S. only.
Hey, Washington. Delta Dental is on a mission. Our state has a lot to smile about, and we think those smiles should be healthy and bright. That's why we support our Cora Foundation Smilemobile. This dental office on wheels provides checkups and oral health education to communities that need it most. The Smilemobile has reached over 44,000 children and families across Washington. See how the Smilemobile is getting us closer to a 100% cavity-free state at cavityfreewa.com.
Hey, this is BJ. Thanks for listening to our show's podcast. If you're a fan of all things geeky, you should check out my other podcast, BJ Shea's Geek Nation. We have new episodes every day, and you can check it out at bjgeeknation.com.
Your driver's license is important so you can get back and forth to work, get your kids to school, and back and forth to daycare. If your license has been suspended because you can't pay your tickets, you can't do any of those things. Let's talk about Chapter 13 bankruptcy. You may have heard the tickets cannot be discharged, but they can be dealt with in a Chapter 13 case. Why not come in for a free consultation? The chapter you choose will make all the difference to your getting back legally on the road. Let's design a plan to pay off your tickets and restore your license immediately. I'm attorney Travis Gagne. Please contact me today at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com.
99.9 KISW, the Rock of Seattle. There's a 39-year-old guy in Japan, and I don't know how he was able to do this, but he managed to get into relationships with 35 different women at the same time.
Why?
Which is, the why is ridiculous. The why is ridiculous, Steve. I mean, I'm with you. Why? Is there anything worth this being done? I could see, having 35 one-night stands. I mean, I could see that kind. That makes sense to me. Hey, there's an attractive woman. You want to have sex? Sure. But these were relationships.
I'm not even saying, how could... I can't even imagine having just 35 friendships, where it's active friendships, where you're constantly staying. Because if this is your quote unquote girlfriend, you're gonna have to spend a lot of time, being available and present. How do you have time to do all that? That seems insane. That's torture.
The meeting of them worked out perfectly for him because he was a door-to-door shower product salesman. So that's how he got to meet them. And basically, this is multi-level marketing. Which some people, that's code for pyramid.
What kind of shower products? I'm interested.
Well, he got 35 people at least interested because they became his girlfriend.
So is that what he did? He just became boyfriends with these girls just so that he could sell them stuff?
That's what I thought as well. But as it turns out, that wasn't the real reason. Because he already went door to door. He already knocked on the door, and I imagine, either A, they bought the product, B, they became his girlfriend, or C, both. But he was not just in it for that. He was in it for the presents. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of in my life. He wanted to be with these women so that he could get birthday presents from them. And here's what he did. He told each one of these 35 girls that his birthday was on a different day so that he would get basically multiple sets of presents very quickly.
He's probably the same kind of guy that signs up for different restaurants, mailers, and gives them different birthdays so he can get a free appetizer every day because every day is his birthday.
Yeah, that way he could have a special day he would celebrate, because if he said the same day, then they would all be like, well, let's go out for your birthday. And say, well, I can't take all 35 of you out unless I pick a different day for each of you.
This man's a genius.
Yeah, so...
he's definitely something.
I mean, it looks like he went to restaurants and got the birthday, the snacks, and the cakes and stuff. So he got a lot of cake.
Does he have a job? This feels like this would be a full-time job just trying to do this.
Well, again, when you're a door-to-door multi-level marketing guy, you're already sort of in the scamming business, in my opinion, as it is. And how about this? It finally blew up on him. The whole thing blew up in February, and the girlfriends found out about each other, and then they started, tracking down more women that actually thought they were in a relationship with this guy. And how about this? He really didn't make a lot of dough on this scam. I mean, he only got about $1,400 worth of presents. And like you said, Steve, for all the work he put into it, it just doesn't seem like a good return on your investment.
It seems just completely tiring.
Of course, you got to have sex with 35 women, I would imagine. I'm thinking that after his birthday and his presence, there was some action.
At least a couple of them, you'd imagine.
Yeah. But here's the thing I don't understand. He's facing fraud charges.
Yeah.
Now, granted, this is Japan, and they have different laws than us. And maybe I'm missing something in the story. I don't know why he's in trouble for this. I know why the women are mad, but I mean, I don't get what he's in trouble for. All he did was lie to them, which
That's fraud right there, man. He's a fraud of a boyfriend.
Yeah, but that's not illegal in this country. Like, you can be a jerk and a douche, which he is, but that's not against the law to be a jerk and a douche. Otherwise, I'd be in jail right now.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it like he's he pretended to be in a relationship with him to get gifts? Yeah, that's a good question. I guess it might be some kind of a law in Japan where you can't do something like that.
I'd love to know what the law in Japan is because, I mean, look, I don't know, man. I mean, I guess maybe your standards are low for a relationship, but how can he be juggling 35 people and you think you're the only one? I get it if it's like 3 or 4, but 35, that means he's not going to be able to see you a lot, or I don't know.
What's worse? What would be harder to stomach? Finding out like your significant other was in a relationship with one person or 35 people?
Oh, it would be, because I found out my at the time when I was dating my wife, I didn't know she was dating somebody else, but it was just one other person as far as I know. It could have been 35. Boy, that would have been, you know what? I don't know. Now I don't want to know.
I almost feel like one would be worse. 35 would, at the moment, suck, but it's almost comical. To be able to share that story, like, I found out that I was dating somebody that was also dating 34 other dudes would be pretty funny.
You know what? See, you and I think differently because I would think, well, I'm a moron if I could not figure out that there were 34 other people in this group. Because I think there would be more signs as to why she couldn't spend as much time with me. But when it's like 1 or 2, you know, she could probably make excuses, you know, like she'd see me enough that I wouldn't suspect. But how do you juggle 35?
Netflix needs to make a documentary about this.
Yeah, they do.
They should get him involved and all the women. Because I would love to know, like, was there any warning signs? Like, why were you okay with not seeing him for several days? You know, like that kind of stuff would be pretty interesting.
All right, Vicky, you know, you're the female of the show, so really, I don't know. I don't know how many men could be taken advantage of like this. I mean, I don't know. I think men are just stupid anyway, so I guess you don't even have to try to take advantage of them, in my opinion. How would you feel? Would it be worse at 1 or 35?
I feel like 35. I feel like 1 because I feel like they would have more time with them and more intimacy. This one just feels like very, you know, I'm here for a minute. Yeah. But like I'm reading in, he's 39 years old and one of his girlfriends was 47 years old. So I'm wondering if he specifically went for older women who were just lonely. Just like we hear these stories of people, you know, losing their life savings because Bruno Mars is going to come and sweep them away, you know, something. So I'm wondering if he was just kind of going for the older gals, and that's kind of why it's more of a scam. They're seeing it.
And if we ever did have this documentary made, I think that I wonder if any of those women would consider staying with him. You know, I mean, there's obviously not all 35.
Oh,
there's going to be at least probably 20 of them that are like, no, I never want to see this guy again. But
Steve,
what?
You're not talking about a documentary. You're talking about The Bachelor.
Right.
Oh, that's a good point.
Wow, yeah, they already do that.
Yeah, you're right. But do you think that at least one of those 35 women would be still okay with dating this guy after all of this?
I bet they would. I mean, I did make the joke about The Bachelor, but really, you know, here's what I would think as a dude if it was the other way around. Yeah, but I'm the one she really wants to be with. I feel like I would have outlasted the others. It's sort of, you know, like Sexual Survivor. I'm in. Let me do it. So I think I would be in for it. Would you guys? I mean, would you still stay with the person?
No.
I've seen
not. No.
I would because I feel like I really outlasted everybody. Again, I'm lonely.
Well, there you go.
I won.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you're all a bunch of losers. You didn't want to stay with him.
What about The Bachelor? I mean, he's out there slamming around everybody, putting his tongue everywhere, and then somebody still wants to win.
But that's like a whole consensual thing, and no one's doing it behind someone's back.
Exactly. Like, they know what they're getting in for. These women had no idea about each other, or, you know, they just thought they met this guy who was promising, like, hey, we're going to get engaged and married someday in the future.
Unlimited shower products.
Exactly.
But I turned her around. She was a scammer, but it was my love and specialness that made her turn her over a new leaf.
Right.
And I think
hey,
for
glasses half full for BJ.
Yeah, look at that.
Well, you know there are types of people that like to fix the other person or think that they can actually make them be better than they are. So, I mean, I think there is that mindset. Plus, Vicky said, if you're lonely anyway, that, you know what, you might think that I could see me doing it if I was lonely, at that age.
I'd love to put him in a room with all these women, where he's in a safe situation, of course.
There's your documentary.
But just let them ask questions and
Battle Royale,
right?
Yeah, who lives and who lives and who dies in that situation.
Once they found out about this and they found all the other girls, they should have had one more birthday extravaganza, a surprise party with all of them at once.
Oh, dude, that would have been brilliant. If all of a sudden he thinks he's just coming into a party with one, and all of the girls are there to surprise him.
Dude, that is nuts. Yeah, you're right. I like that.
He might not make it out alive.
No, probably not.
He's not gonna. Don't eat the cake, pal. That's all I would say. That is awesome. We got this dude from Greensboro, North Carolina. He was officially kicked off a city zoning commission. Why? Because he repeatedly ignored a woman's request to be addressed by her doctoral title during a virtual public meeting.
Dude, I listened to this and it's so awkward. It's like he's intentionally not calling her doctor.
Yeah, I haven't heard the piece, so I want to hear it before I give my opinion on the whole situation. But his name is Tony Collins, and he was fired for this because he basically had this contentious exchange with Dr. Carrie Rosario. She's an associate professor at UNC Greensboro, who holds a doctorate in public health. And here's the portion of that public meeting where Collins refused to acknowledge her title.
We're here to approve the standards, and if Mrs. Rosario has something about one of those standards...
It's Dr. Rosario. Thank you, sir.
Mrs. Rosario has something about...
Dr. Rosario.
Well, I'm sorry. Your name says on here, Rosario. Hey, Carrie.
Mm-hmm. It's Dr. Rosario.
You got something...
Please, sir, call me as I would like to be called. That's how I'm identified.
It doesn't really matter. We're here
It matters to me. It matters to me. And out of respect, I would like you to call me by the name that I'm asking you to call me by. Thank you.
Your screen says Carrie Rosario.
I'm verbalizing my name is Dr. Carrie Rosario. And it really speaks very negatively of you as a commissioner to be disrespectful.
What is this?
Now I'm watching the video on every optic level possible. This guy's an idiot. There's no way at all. I mean, I don't even know what to say about this. If you watch the video, he's a white dude. She's a person of color. She's being very kind and saying, could you please address me the way I'd like to be addressed, which, I think is fair for anybody to ask. But I mean, even in this time, it's like, dude, are you not aware you're a jackknob? And I mean, what a moron. I can't, on every way level possible, he's a moron. There's no way that anybody could get his side in this. What an idiot.
Well, it's like sometimes someone does something kind of douchey and then they double down. I don't even know how many downs did he go on that? Like quadruple?
Yeah, he did.
6 times over?
Right.
Like, it was, just call me doctor. All right, Mrs. It says your name. I'm not calling you.
I know, what a moron. And she's just, she's obviously annoyed and still just trying to be as pleasant as possible to this half a moron, is saying, can you just call me by, I'm a doctor. I mean, that's, come on, but that's my title. Wow.
Can you guys hold on a second? I need to go to the other room and get some popcorn because this is better than anything that's on television. I'll take this over Mortal Kombat.
Oh, man, dude. Yeah, and he got fired. He did eventually apologize, but of course, he got fired for it.
Please tell me he called her, because I heard he left her a voicemail. And then
he did. He did leave a voicemail apology. I don't know if he actually...
Hey, Mrs. Rosario, I'm just calling to apologize. I'm not calling you. At that point, you might as well.
I mean, you've got... Dude, I mean, it is the poster child for exactly what everyone's saying is going wrong right now. This guy is just proving it. I mean, what a mindless I mean, if I was his buddy, I'd go, you couldn't be more dumb in your life. This is you are the epitome of the worst time you could ever be in your life. How clueless are you?
Well, I just wonder why. You know what I mean? Like, what was it that made him so bothered to call her? Whatever, then she's like, hey, just call me doctor. I'd be like, all right, fine, I'll call you doctor. If you're a doctor, you're a doctor. And whatever, even if you're like, I don't really feel like this person's a doctor because it's like, some people give like dentists a hard time or whatever it may be. But if someone's like, point blank correcting you, what does it matter? Call a doctor.
Steve, you're just being rational and reasonable. I hate to say this, but I see where this happened. I see the people involved. And I mean, the why, I don't want to know why, because it would just make me feel bad about where we are in this world. I mean, seriously, it is exactly taking place in a space of our country that's had issues, and it is an exact example of that issue. And that, to me, if that's the real why, oh man, are you serious?
That's why I gotta take a page out of like those hotel employees when I would fill out on the form, says my suffix is doctor, and they would call me Dr. Miggs.
Oh, yeah.
And they probably knew full well that I wasn't, but you know, they saw that I wanted to be called a doctor, so they did.
Oh, yeah, they have to call you doctor, even though they go, if this guy's a doctor, I'm quitting. I'm quitting life. If this genius actually has a doctorate in anything.
Especially when the person's like, well, now wife, then girlfriend, looked at me with pure surprise when they did refer to me as a doctor. And I'd imagine when I walk away, they were like, how is this guy a doctor?
Oh, yeah. It's the greatest move ever, though, because they have to call it to you.
Right.
You know, you're the customer. You're always right.
You on the form ask for what I would like to be referred to as, and it's like Mr., Mrs., Doctor.
So they've got, now what you have to do, they got to put that dude, put him to work at a hotel. You've got to go to that hotel and call yourself a doctor. It says here, Mr. Miggs. I'm not calling you doctor.
It's Dr. Miggs.
It says right here, Steve Miggs. I mean, it doesn't say I'm a doctor, sir, please. Oh. What a shed. Oh, man. And it turns out he happens to be an older dude, too. I mean, really, he is just on every level, is just an idiot. We got a kindergarten teacher who learned a very valuable lesson. It is not smart to do cocaine while at work. Yeah, I'll tell you what happened at 8:17 on The Rock.
BJ and Miggs, mornings on The Rock, 99.9 KISW.
Spend less time in the laundry room and more time doing the things you love. Introducing the Samsung Smart Top Load Laundry Pair, now available at Lowe's. The washer's large capacity means you can fit more in every load. Plus, its super speed setting washes a full load in only 28 minutes. Shop the smart washer that will streamline laundry day, backed by Lowe's Price Promise. Based on using super speed on a normal cycle with an 8-pound load. Terms apply. See Lowe's.com/price promise for details. U.S. only.
We all remember that one professor, the one everyone on campus had to take no matter what subject they taught because how much fun their class was. What if we told you there was a streaming service that had all those professors? One Day University has every must-have professor from the best colleges all across the country. One Day University, the most fun talks from the most fun professors. Available live and on demand. No homework, just the most fun you'll have while learning. Get a special offer at ondayu.com/odyssey.
Hey, what's up, everyone? You find yourselves trying to get your Craig Mack on and put some brand new flavor in your ear? Well, funny you should mention that because we have a brand new show that you should check out. It is called Pod Sauce. It is your podcast discovery show.
Everyone's always looking for a podcast recommendation. We got lots of them for you, from true crime to pop culture. And you can join us each week as we dish on all of our favorite podcasts out there. So make sure you download the Odyssey app and search Pod Sauce, or head on over to podsauce.com.
We got you covered, guys.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle. Well, you would think this would be a no-brainer, but apparently not to Sybil. She's a 46-year-old kindergarten teacher in Virginia. Sybil is, now for folks that don't know the name Sybil, there was a book and a movie written, I think, based on a real-life person who had multiple personality disorder, but it became synonymous in my generation with somebody who had issues. Like, you heard the name Sybil and you go, oh, that sounds like a person who's just got a lot of issues.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, so that's every time I see the name Sybil, all because of that book and that movie, I just think, oh, this person's messed up.
The only thing I think of when I hear Sybil, and that's going to be totally dating me, wasn't the television show called Moonlighting with Sybil Shepherd with Bruce Willis?
Yeah, that's the other Sybil that you know, yeah.
I can't even picture what she looks like. I just remember her name was Sybil Shepherd.
Oh, she was a great person.
Yeah, oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, she looked exactly as heaven would look.
And that was what Bruce Willis's first television show.
Yeah,
her first
right.
Foray into even being a person that was popular in pop culture.
Yeah, and I think Sybil Shepherd was a model, too, before she was on television, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, she was. Wow.
Huh.
Yeah.
Here we are in 2021 talking about Sybil Shepherd.
Yeah, how about that? Well, Steve, I went even further with my dating, so I really can't even give you a hard time because the Sybil I'm talking about is way before Moonlight.
Is there anything that you guys, I don't think there's any other Sybil that...
No, I mean, I have a really good friend growing up, and to this day, she's my friend named Sybil.
Oh, there we go.
Shout out if you're listening.
What's up, Sybil? Well, this Sybil in Virginia was arrested last week after a security officer at her elementary school found out that she was getting through the days with cocaine.
Oh, okay. I'm in love with the coco.
I can almost understand this because sometimes people, they need to wake and bake. That's how they get through their job. But if you need the energy to keep up with kindergartners, then you're going to need something a little stronger.
One text brought up a good point. Like, all these kids are all hopped up on sugar, so she probably realized, hey, I gotta match their energy level.
Yeah, the officer found cocaine in her desk. Isn't it interesting, man? I know that I've had experiences in my life where I found cocaine in somebody's desk. So
sometimes under keyboards.
Yeah, sometimes it's a popular place. Apparently, right around your desk place. So the officers found this while the kids were in recess, and so they checked out her desk. She got arrested. She got charged, felony drug possession.
Wait, they were on recess? Was she around them during that, or it's like I'm just picturing me like, okay, kids, you guys can play 7-Up, put your heads down, and all of a sudden. Does anyone remember 7-Up, or am I like dating?
You're
Heads up, 7-Up. No, it's a lot of fun.
That was a fun game.
Yeah. I don't know if any of the new kids are playing it. You know what I mean? I don't know if the kids are if that's what they're still doing in school. If it's an age-old game that just survives time.
I hear that teachers do it because that's how you figure out who are the cheaters in your class early on and who to watch out for.
Really?
Because you watch the kids who are looking at the shoes and stuff, which I may or may not have done.
No, that was me. Yeah.
I didn't even know there was a way to cheat that system. I was always being honorable playing 7-Up.
No, you got to peek your eyes down by the table and you just look at the shoes by you.
I would always fall asleep playing that game.
I can see that.
Great nap time.
Two types of people.
Yep. Thumbs up. Wake me up.
Some reporters actually got to interview a parent of one of her students who was really very forgiving about what happened. She said, quote, "I let my daughter know that sometimes adults make mistakes, and just like children, there are consequences. She'll get the help that she needs. She was a great teacher. My daughter enjoyed having her so much." Wow, that is an amazing... Whoever heard of a parent with that kind of a cool response?
She was really nice, full of energy. She loved dance music.
At the end of the day, though, they're absolutely right. I mean, she probably could have been a great teacher and just really, who knows? I don't know. Sometimes cocaine really, certain drugs really interact differently with other people. So perhaps maybe it did not do anything in a negative way to her that maybe in other people it would be insane. Still, you don't want anybody doing it because it's against the law.
Maybe they were like micro bumps.
Yeah, I don't know because look, you hear Kevin Smith talk about how when he was smoking, he was just so creative. And when I smoke and when I can't do a thing, I'm useless. So
I just don't know though. Cocaine seems like a little bit of an aggressive drug to take when you're teaching children.
I see. That's what I'm saying. I don't know how it interacts or affects anybody. I mean, me. You give me coffee, and it's just like you gave me cocaine. You can't let me around children either if you give me a cup of coffee because I'm out of my mind.
Yeah, I wish there was video footage just to see what her classes were like when she was all hopped on the booger sugar.
Yeah, because according to that parent, they loved her. That parent said that the kid loved her, and so. I mean, without finding the cocaine, I don't think that they thought there was a problem. It was just because they happened to discover cocaine. Unless somebody had a tip-off. We don't have enough of the story to know.
Well, some teachers encourage students to leave apples on the desk. She was encouraging them to leave rolled-up dollar bills, and that's when they realized something was weird about this story.
Yeah, and I don't want a desk. Can you just get me, instead of a regular desktop, can I have a mirror?
Big old Coke mirror.
Yeah, can I just have a flat reflective surface? That would be great.
Man, if I was a parent, though, I'd be like, you have got to be kidding. Of all things, I would never guess that my kindergarten teacher would be hopped up on Coke.
But now you understand why. Those kids are hopped up. And...
I would say it's a special breed of patience to put up with being if you're going to be a kindergarten teacher. Right.
It's hard to say because I've talked to teachers about this. Every level has its challenges because you'd think, okay, the kid who don't want to be a kindergarten teacher, but then you get to middle school, high school, and there are different reasons why those kids are just delightful, and so I'm not sure, what is the universally accepted age of a child that you'd want to be a teacher of. I'm not sure I'd want to teach any kid.
Maybe she was just trying to teach her children about the dangers of doing drugs.
Right. Oh, that's a good way to do it.
Yep. She's a hands-on teacher.
Lead by example. He's like, kids, I want to show you what'll happen. Sure, it's fun for a while. Nobody finds out. Then you get arrested and fired. It is a good life lesson. So there's a new survey. They were talking to folks, and they said, okay, Do you always sit in the same seat around the table when you eat at home?
Yes, my couch.
Same spot, right?
Yeah, same spot every time.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, actually, sometimes I switch sides.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Why?
Not me.
I don't know. My girlfriend randomly decides to sit on one side of the couch, and our couch
weird rebel is she?
I don't know. Our couch is broken, so sometimes she doesn't. Because when we moved into there, we couldn't fit it in, so I had to break the couch to get it up the stairs.
That's usually how you do it. That's how movers suggest breaking things.
Pivot 100%.
Yep, saw it in half.
So sometimes she likes sitting on the broken side. Sometimes she doesn't.
Sometimes I want to sit on other spots because my spot I've already built like my ass indent into it. It's but it's. I picked that spot because it's the most comfortable for me, and so any other spot doesn't feel right. So, but eating dinner, we always eat at the bar, in the kitchen. Like you have like the little island with the little bar stools, and I always pick the same seat every time.
Yep. Oh yeah, totally.
I've been trying to get Tatum's seat, but it's too small for me, so that's why I have to go with.
Plus, she gives you the side eye. She's like, "Come on, pops, what is this about?"
That's right.
Yeah.
You buckle yourself into your own seat, Dad.
Well, I pick the middle area of the couch all the time because of the fact that I know she likes to go left or right. So it's like, well, I won't ever have to give up the middle seat. This will be mine. I think there's something about I don't know. I guess my father, we all saw our dads, I think, have their chair. Mm-hmm. And I just always thought in my life, I will finally get to have my chair because I can never sit in my dad's chair.
Right. And I don't have a chair, but I have a spot.
Yeah, and that was the thing. He had a spot also at the kitchen table. And I now have, well, it's interesting. I move around depending upon what we have for the amount of guests because I like to sit across from a person as close as possible because I can't hear them very well. So I always sit across from somebody, but the more people you have, the more difficult that could be. But then I eventually take the king spot if we end up having
king spot.
If we have more than 4 people eating at the table, then I take the king spot, which would be one of the end chairs.
See, of course, wear a king's crown, then every chair is the king's spot that you sit in.
Oh, yeah. But, even the dining room tables insult you, Steve, because they don't give you the arms on the side chairs. They only give the arms to the king's chairs. So, right off the bat, you're in the loser chair if you're not sitting in the king's chair.
Are we the only weirdos that don't sit on the couch for dinner or lunch? Like, we always sit for a while we were sitting at the dining room table, but it turned out that it's a lot easier just to sit at our little bar area at the kitchen. But we don't ever eat sitting on the couch anymore. Ever since we got Tatum.
All the time. Oh, so that's interesting. With a kid, you're right. I don't think we did a whole lot of couch eating when we had the kids at Tatum's age.
I kind of like it, though. I think it's something I will probably stick with doing even when she's old enough to not have to sit in a high chair.
Yeah, you say that. But it's so nice to watch a show with food. Oh, so good.
See, if it's just myself or with roommates, I definitely either eat on the couch or eat in my room because I just find it more comfortable. But with my family living with me as they try to buy a new house, we all sit at the table. I only have 4 chairs, so someone has to get an extra tall, like kind of the same thing. I have one of those stools for like the island thing. So we always rotate who gets to sit on that chair because it's a little uncomfortable.
Because you're like hovering over everybody else.
Right. On top of the fact that my 2-year-old brother, he has a high chair. He refuses to sit in it unless it's his choice, which is, we can never guess when it's going to be his choice. So he sits in a regular chair. And it changes every day. He sometimes wants to sit there, or he'll get out of his chair and wants to sit on your lap and just kind of encroach on your area. So it's just basically a weird revolving chair situation at the moment.
It's whatever the baby wants at this point.
Yeah, it's a crapshoot.
It's like, you know what? I'm like, he can sit on me and eat off my plate at this point. I don't care as long as he eats and sits down and lets me eat.
And that's, of course, why children add so much to your life.
Yeah. It is funny.
Oh man, I just feel like whenever it's dinner time, it's like, let's throw on a show, dinner and a show. I just love the whole dinner and a show attitude. I mean, hell, they have places that do that, before the pandemic and maybe again, where you literally would have dinner and a show. And I love that concept.
Yeah, it's tough. Like the only times where I'm like, oh man, maybe we should sit on the couch. It's like during like a Seahawks Monday night or a Sunday night football game. And then I'll just kind of have to like prop my chair. So, usually during dinner time, we take TVs off, put on some music, and just kind of like let's stop staring at a screen for a little while.
Oh, that's a nice thing. You guys actually want to sort of like be with each other.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't argue with that, even though I don't do it. But, nice work. Every once in a while, we'll do a breakfast that way. But dinner, it is always, hey, listen, we got dinner, and what are we going to watch? And a lot of times it's a food show, which is really great because I love eating while watching a food show.
Eating while watching a food show is the way to go. Watching a food show at the end of the night when you're hungry is a terrible idea. And I do it so often. We'll watch diners, drive-ins, and dives in bed, like on the weekends. And I'm just like, why do we do this? Like, now I want to eat something.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And as a matter of fact, eating healthy food while they're eating their like not so healthy food somehow makes me feel like I'm eating not healthy food. When I'm eating that salad, it's the weirdest. It's the weirdest thing. But
the salad tastes like fondant.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, thank you, buddy. 70% of people pretty much say, they like to sit in the same chair. So we're not that weird.
How about this person? We recently mounted a TV in the kitchen. So now we eat in the kitchen instead of the living room.
Nice.
Oh, I guess, you know what? I mean, that's one way not to get stuff on the couch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty epic. Like, screw this. Let's just mount a TV. You
Yeah.
have a TV in your kitchen, don't you?
Yeah.
Kinda?
It is. I mean, it's sort of like the little, you know how they have that little room off the kitchen, but it really is the kitchen.
Right.
That's what it is. It's in that side, right? Over the fireplace area. Yeah.
Like growing up, I always had a TV at the dining room table. Whenever we would eat, the grandparents, we'd always have it. And it'd usually be on news because we'd eat between 5 and 6.
Right.
But we'd always have a TV.
God, that sucks. News while you're eating? I mean, that's so depressing to me.
No, it was something to watch. It was interesting.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes they show the squirrels surfboarding. So, I mean, that's probably a lot of fun to watch.
Something to look forward to, yeah.
Yeah, I know. They assist you, all the stuff you have to get through, Steve, before you get to the squirrel.
Yeah.
As it were. Well, that sounded weird. All right.
When I was a kid, the news, it was like, okay, it's going to get better once they were about ready to go into sports. Because then, you got sports, then you got the weather report, and then the little kicker fun story, which was like, hey, look at this dog with 3 legs doing a cartwheel.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's awesome. So,
do they still do that? Because it's been a while.
Know.
It's been a while since
I don't even watch the news anymore. I have no idea.
I don't even know what they do on the news anymore.
Yeah, and some I know stations stopped even doing sports because they felt like, you can go to ESPN and get all the info you want, which really does sadden me because I love to see what's going on. I mean, they don't talk about all the cool local stuff to the angle that I want on ESPN.
No, as a kid, my mom wanted to watch the news all the time, and that was like the only saving grace was, okay, all right, 1 or 2 more sad stories before they get to sports, and then I'll be in a better mood.
And she at least kept it on for the sports and all that.
Yeah. I mean, she owed that to me.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
2.5 breaks of just sad murder stories.
Yeah, my mother-in-law's the same way. I don't understand it. It's like, you're not getting happy or watch this. Just, you know what? You can't do anything about it. That's in a place far away from you. Why do you want to know this? Oh, if you could do something about it, okay, but you can't. Instead, you just get more miserable. Oh.
But let me know if the Mariners won.
Yeah, I can't do anything about that either, actually. But
another sad story.
I guess you're absolutely right. It is another sad story. On Friday, Steve did get this one right.
Which area of the body has the largest bone?
Pelvis.
No.
The leg?
Yes.
Good job, Steve.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I mean, it's wishful thinking that it would be the pelvis. You want a shot at beating Steve? You got it. 206-421-ROCK. We're playing Beat Miggs at 8:47 on The Rock.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Travis Gagne, bankruptcy attorney. Here's another question from a listener. How long is a bankruptcy going to affect my credit rating?
Of course, most of the time, by the time we're talking about filing a bankruptcy, the credit has already taken a huge hit. Chapter 7 is going to affect it more negatively than Chapter 13. Chapter 7 stays on your credit report for 10 years from the time you file. It usually takes 7 or 8 years for your credit scores to get back into the normal range in a Chapter 7 case. However, your credit will start to recover even in Chapter 7 after about a year. You'll be able to get credit again right away, usually before your case is even over. Chapter 13 stays on your credit report for 7 years and usually takes about 3 or 3.5 years for your credit to get back in the normal range. So Chapter 13 will mean your credit gets better much more rapidly.
Thanks, Travis. If you have more questions about bankruptcy, you can reach out to Travis anytime at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com. Thanks for listening.